Coming up today on Eagle Eyes on Tech, the Amazon Web Services had an outage and it took out pretty much the entire internet with it. Counter-Strike 2 item market collapses, all thanks to an update. Samsung launches an Apple Vision Pro competitor for reasons that scientists cannot explain. And Nike is getting into cybernetics for reasons that scientists can kind of explain. All that and more come up today on Eagle Eyes on Tech. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, North to am. Good about this is Eagle Eyes on Tech. I am Eagle Falcon. You know, here's the funny thing. I've gotten some messages asking why I didn't do a breaking news episode for the AWS outage. Do you want the honest reason why there wasn't a breaking news episode for AWS? You're gonna laugh. I didn't know it happened until the day after. I apparently managed to swoop, swerve, and dodge every aspect of the AWS outage, because apparently most of what I do online doesn't use AWS, and what does, I just didn't do that day. I think like the most we had was like the credit card reader just kind of derped out for like a little bit. And I don't even think that was related. So I didn't find out about it until like the day after. And then I'm just like, oh, well, now I'm going to feel stupid if I do a breaking news episode 2 days after the fact. So yeah, that was interesting. But in any case, that is, of course, the big news. The fact that everyone is realizing that a large chunk of the internet uses Amazon Web Services. And when they had an issue that took out almost everything, it took out, God, so much of the internet. Roblox, Fortnite, Zoom, Snapchat. The list goes on and on and on. Many different web services were also down. Twitch, of course, had some issues, but I think they were able to recover on it. And here's the best part. I want you to guess. What did Amazon in? What do you think took down AWS? Oh, it was a massive foreign hack, right? It was the North Koreans, wasn't it? Oh no, it's the Russians. The Russians managed to get in. No, it was a massive natural disaster. Oh, the entire one big chunk of Amazon Web Services got flooded out by fall storms. That must be what did it, right? Ooh, a big power outage caused by a hurricane. No, it was a DNS error. I'm not even kidding. There was a domain name service error, and that caused everything to go down. Because in the end, if your way of identifying your servers is down, it causes a chain reaction. That's all it took. One little DNS error. That's it. The end. It is fascinating to me. And it might just be because I know quite a bit about what it takes to run a data center. The levels of redundancies upon redundancies. The amount of servers that are just copies of another server in case a server goes down. How so much of everything is all built just in case one unit has a failure. And all it took was one DNS error. And then boom, it's all gone. This is all specifically a DNS resolution of the DynamoDB API endpoint in their US East 1 data center, whatever the flip that is. Now, the actual outage itself, I don't even know how long it lasted. I don't even think this article says how long it lasted. Apparently went out 6:20. You know, actually, I think I was affected by this and I just assumed it was just the Alexa system bricking out. My alarm clock is a Amazon Echo Show, just a little itty bitty one. And I don't think it sounded off its alarm. And I just assumed I just slept through it and it just didn't keep playing the radio. I was just like, oh, typical. I think that might be the only hint I had for the whole thing. But yes, in case you thought that, it's just all that. Here's a greater list of other things that were affected. Snapchat, Roblox, Amazon, Alexa, Ring, Robinhood, HBO Max, Chime, Venmo, Epic Games, McDonald's, Fortnite, Lyft, Hulu, Disney Plus, Roku, Signal, and carriers including AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, the PC gaming platform Steam, and online forums like Reddit were also impacted. Also, banking apps and tools like Zoom, Pokemon Go, PlayStation Network were also struggling. You know what's amazing to me, though? And I want to make sure this is still the case. Amazon had an outage, right? They just had an outage. This was specifically on October 20th. Look how it affected their stock price. It didn't at all. In fact, it went up after the outage by $6 and then went down by $4 the next day. That's wild. The fact that you can have your big flagship data center completely crap the bed, completely give out, cripple so much of the working internet and its functions, and it's your fault. Not a single hit in your stock price. In fact, it looks like Amazon's getting out of this one clean. And if you want to know why, I'll tell you what, I don't know. I really don't know. This is honestly fascinating, the way they are just dodging this bullet completely. And keep in mind, this isn't just web services. Oh no. This also caused problems for smart bed owners. Because Amazon Web Services were knocked out, the smart bed users were unable to adjust their bed at all. So if they had it sitting upright for, say, just chilling and watching TV before bed and then have it go down later and then maybe turn the heat on, it was stuck in the position it was. Even better, if the bed was heating before the outage, it stayed heating. It ignored the thermostat. So yeah, you could, and so as someone just said, you could unplug the power to stop the heating. Not that it matters. The electric coil in there is not really that powerful to go ahead and get crazy hot or anything. You're not in danger. You're just gonna, it's just gonna be hot. But what are you gonna do as far as the stupid thing being a freaking upright? Are you just effed? Are you just doomed? I'll tell you what. Before today, or before this whole thing came down, I didn't even know smart beds were really a thing. I kind of suspected they might be a thing. I did not know they existed. And now I can tell you this much. No smart bed. I'll go ahead and be in control of everything else myself. Thank you very much. Like, how much would that cost? Can you imagine? Like, this thing has to cost like thousands of dollars plus like a $20 monthly subscription or something stupid. All right, I just looked at the price of these smart beds. It's more expensive than my car. Not gonna lie, if I paid 15 grand for one of these and it was stuck upright, I'd be pissed. Like, they do make these things that don't require a freaking web connection, right? Like, for people who actually like need this level of control. Does it need the cloud at all times? Like, that's my biggest thing right there. Let me go make my own cloud. But yeah, smart bed owners were SOL. Slack users were getting trapped into never-ending huddles, apparently, where they just couldn't get out of these group meetings at all. That's an interesting little effect there. Apparently, the Premier League lost their virtual referees during that time. Starbucks couldn't use anything on their app. Wordle and Duolingo users threatened to riot. Whoops. And airline passengers lost check-in info and seat reservations. School exams were delayed. Bank transfers disappeared into the ether. Again, like all these problems, and somehow Amazon is getting away with it scot-free. It is actually impressive. It is actually impressive because this sort of thing, we've actually seen examples of this sort of thing. Remember the CrowdStrike incident and how that basically ruined the reputation of the company forever? Someone in chat said it could happen if it was a different company. Oh yeah, it could happen if it was a different company. It could happen to any company. Trying to prevent a DNS error is very tricky. Here's the thing though, and here's my point on it. The general public is not understanding. You try to get the general public to understand something that's supposed to be reasonable, it's like pulling teeth. And somehow this gets the pass. I'm blown away by that. I really, really am. But it is, I guess, what it is. Meanwhile, though, in headlines that sound like a big deal, but kind of aren't, China accuses the US of a cyber attack on the National Time Center. China on Sunday, according to the Associated Press, accused the US National Security Agency of carrying out cyber attacks on its National Time Center, saying any damage to related facilities could have disrupted network communications, financial systems, and power supply. The Ministry of the State alleged that the US agency had exploited vulnerabilities in the messaging service of a foreign mobile phone brand to steal sensitive information from devices of the National Time Center staff in 2022. They did not specify the brand. The US agency also used 42 times of special cyber attack weapons to target the center's multiple internal network systems in an attempt to infiltrate a key timing between 2023 and 2024. It said in a post on WeChat, a Chinese social media platform. The ministry said it had evidence, but it did not provide it in the post. You know, this might sound childish of me to say, but here's my counter statement. Pics or it didn't happen. The amount of gaslighting propaganda that comes out of China is to the point where it's laughable, where they continue to go ahead and try to rewrite history, trying to say that the US made the coronavirus among many, 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 many other items. But all of a sudden now, the US has been committing cyber attacks over the past, not recently, not immediately, over the past 3 years, and you have proof, but refuse to give even a single shred of evidence. And the thing that the US attacked is the Chinese National Time Center. Do I think the US is capable of doing such an attack? Of course I do. Absolutely. The US and China are currently in kind of a cyber cold war at the moment. It would not surprise me at all if these attacks were legitimate. But the thing is that if you expect me or any other person of the population to believe that, you need to provide proof. You even say you have it, but I'm not going to share it. It ranks right up there with my currently favorite streamer to hate, Mr. Hassan Piker, claiming that, oh no, it's a vibration collar. You just have to trust me, and then not showing the collar in any real detail. And what glimpses we were able to get, we were able to prove that, no, you're lying. God, could you imagine believing that guy? You have to be some kind of spineless jellyfish or something. But in the case of China, it just is what it is. Someone in chat wants to remind us that, in fact, neither China or the US were responsible for Corona. That was actually all Mexico that made Corona, the beer. You got me there, detective. I can't fault that logic. It's too good. It's too flawless. I can't argue with that. What I can argue, though, is that the CS2 item market is now dead. It is now completely dead as an update to the trade system within Counter-Strike 2 has caused the real money trade of items in the game to crash nearly $2 billion, all thanks to an update. You know what I love about this, though? The number of people trying to act like financial analysts and going, oh no, do you have any idea how many real dollars are now worthless? How much money has now been destroyed by this one update? This is an economic crisis. Yeah, I hate to break it to you. Counter-Strike is not a 401k. Counter-Strike is not a banking app. Counter-Strike is not even a savings account. Counter-Strike is a first-person shooter. It is still a first-person shooter. You're all looking at the game, seeing dollar signs and going, oh man, we can make some big bucks on this because other people are willing to go ahead and pay way too much money for this stuff. I hate to break it to you, it's not the devs' fault that people are using Counter-Strike as a way to try and get rich quick. The devs have no obligation to the players to keep that economy going. Sorry, they just don't. So do I think the update is good? I don't know. Do I think it's bad? It just is what it is. And for the people going ahead and saying I've lost now millions of dollars in Counter-Strike items, my counterpoint would be you never had that money to begin with, because until you actually sell the item and find someone that's willing to go ahead and pay what you're asking for it, you don't have millions of dollars. You have nothing. No item is worth anything until you have a buyer. Never, ever forget that. We're going to take our first break here. When we come back, I got a lot more to talk about, including our favorite topic in the world on this channel, AI. Oh yeah, you're going to love it. We'll be back. I can't help it. I have to whistle with something like that. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. All right, so some of you may have noticed this if you've been in the PC building forest recently, but it is finally coming out publicly that, in fact, RAM prices of DDR5 modules are increasing by up to 30%, as Samsung and SK Hynix report are working on supply deals. I'm not gonna lie, I just assumed the price going up was just tariffs, because despite being told that the tariffs aren't increasing prices, they definitely are increasing prices, like as far as I could see everywhere, basically. So yeah, if you want to know why RAM prices are going up, it is something very specific to the supply chain going on within DDR5. And it's going to continue until competition goes and pushes the price back down, unfortunately. So in the meantime, we just grin and bear it, I guess. Meanwhile, though, YouTube is introducing a new tool powered by our favorite power, the power of AI. YouTube is using an AI likeness detection tool in order to search for deepfakes of popular creators. These deepfakes, of course, also caused by AI, and which is not really a surprise at all that we're going to go ahead and use AI to solve a problem caused by AI. I mean, who's really surprised at this point? Clearly, the answer to everything is, in fact, AI, despite the fact the problem is, in fact, caused by AI. Now, what is the correct answer to this? I don't know. I mean, you might as well go ahead and try to implement this technology, but here's the thing. The moment you introduce AI into your solution, I instantly lose faith in it. Like, I hate to be that guy, but the track record of AI is not great. We see again and again and again flippin' AI not living up to its hype again and again and again. In the end, the whole thing really is just, I mean, they got to do something. So I guess we'll just see how it works. I'm just going to tell you, I'm willing to bet it's going to have a 50% hit to miss ratio. Oh, well, it just is what it is. But of course, I keep saying that AI is not living up to its hype, but is there any proof that my claims about AI is correct? You think I just spout this stuff off without anything to back it up? Of course not. How about this study that shows that in a sample of 3,000 responses asking for news, nearly half contained at least one significant issue that these top AI assistants had in doing all this. We keep pushing for AI to do more and more and more. I don't care. I'm getting sick of hitting the button. The bit stopped being funny. All right. We keep pushing AI more and more and more. And what do we have to show for it? Terawatts of power being consumed for a 50% success rate. This cannot continue as it is. We keep treating AI as though it is ready for prime time. It is here. You must embrace it or you will fall behind the times. And the thing you're trying to get me to jump in on messes up half the time. Articles upon articles upon articles come out about how people are spending more money in man hours to correct the mistakes of AI than it would have just taken for man to have done the job in the first place. We're not saving anything at all. We're consuming more and more and more power to produce worse and worse and worse results. Well, that's actually not true. The results are getting slightly better every time, but they're getting nowhere close to what needs to happen for these things to be ready for major operations like people are talking. But as someone kind of put it in chat, the AI will continue until morale improves. And in fact, yes, the AI will continue until morale improves is also the slogan of Windows 11, as they are in fact that Windows is in fact dropping their Copilot fall release soon. Although I love the headline of this blog post: human-centered AI. What does that even mean? What do you mean by human-centered AI? You know what human-centered AI is? Human-centered AI is just I. Here's the better answer, and I know that every tech giant out there is going to hate it. How's this for an idea? Get out of my way and let me get back to work. You have your cute tech demos. I have a large language model based assistant on my desk. And you know what we do with it? We ask it really, really, really stupid questions for entertainment value because we know what it's going to say is going to be stupid. So yeah, cool. Copilot update coming to Windows. What's going to be included in it? Well, you know, if you can figure it out, they'll make one of us. They're going to be launching Copilot groups so that you can collaborate with friends, you know, like in Microsoft Teams. Except now it's called Copilot because you'll embrace AI whether you like it or not. We're also going to have a new digital assistant, Copilot Miko, which I cannot wait to blight my existence and make me wish for the days of Clippy. Apparently it's also going to have deeper memory and shared context. So we're going to run on a newer version of ChatGPT. Got it. Okay. We're going to have Copilot for health. Oh, it's going to health or something. We're going to have Copilot mode in Edge. And did the only thing they really announced that actually is technically new is just the little blob assistant? Is that the only thing that's new? I've said it once and I'll say it again. Generative AI should stick to just being tech demos, because really That's all it is. And of course, it doesn't help at all. You got stories like this, where Microsoft is being blamed for water shortages, local illnesses, and power outages, all because of their AI data center are being built. Okay. I need someone to explain to me why the fixation with water shortages is like first and foremost with these data centers. Why is that always the focus? Because it's not like it's a water bottling plant where they're taking the local water, putting it in bottles and shipping it elsewhere. Yeah, a good chunk of water is used, but it's a closed loop system. And on top of that, we're trying to go ahead and report stomach bugs and hepatitis on the data center. What? The only thing of their claims I feel is like legitimate in any way, shape, or form are the power outages, because data centers do take up a lot of power. That is the one thing they do in fact consume tons of, other than servers. So yeah, the power outages, brownouts, that sort of thing. Yeah. No, I totally believe that 100%. But you're going to try and blame Microsoft for hepatitis? Even I, as a guy who is, for the most part, very anti-AI, I can't even fathom where that one is coming from. So, I mean, good luck with your claim there. I don't see it going much of anywhere. Good luck with that. Meanwhile, though, in non-AI related news, Microsoft is looking at the future of Xbox, which is in a weird spot. And one of the big things people are talking about is, why on earth is the Xbox handheld so expensive? Do you know what the answer is? The answer is very obvious if you think about it. Now, Xbox president Sarah Bond says that the reason the handheld is so cheap is that it's all Asus's fault. You want to know the real answer? Why is the Asus handheld with Microsoft's name on it $700 to $1,000? The reason is because she's right. Now, it's a little hand wavy to just say straight up, oh, it's all Asus's fault. Oh man, that greedy Asus. I can't believe it. Oh, they're just so focused on being greedy as can be. Oh man, it's all their fault. Well, here's the thing. The reason game consoles are always so cheap is because the games are more expensive. You get a $500, well, now $9,000 Xbox Series S, X, whatever we're on now, and instead, all your games are $10 more than they'd be on, say, PC. They fully expect to make up the loss they made on the hardware in game sales. How many games is Asus selling? Or heck, even better, how are games put on the handheld? Yeah, there's a Windows Store. Yeah, there is an Xbox overlay. The thing is that it's still Windows. You can bypass the Xbox Store easy. You can install Steam on it. It's not that hard. The reason it's so expensive compared to the Xbox is because Asus isn't being subsidized. It's just an ROG Ally. It's just PC hardware in a handheld. So yeah, the price is right where you would expect it. It's right where I expected it. About $700 and $1,000. Yeah, that's about what I see these higher end handhelds going for. Why do you think the Steam Deck is so cheap? Well, first off, they made a very competitive model that's not as powerful. But also, Steam's willing to take a little bit of a hit on it because they know the only place you can buy games on the Steam Deck is Steam. Same sort of model there. It's not going to be as successful for Steam, but it is one of the reasons why the Steam Deck is so cheap. So yeah, it is Asus's fault. Sarah Bond is 100% correct. But you know what? Good luck convincing everyone else that that's the case. They're instead going to look at it and go, Microsoft's a greedy company and they just wanted more money. No, my God. all that delicious, delicious money. And honestly, there is a little bit to that, such as this story that came out that showed that Microsoft executives were expecting the Xbox division to achieve 30% profit margins, which is nearly double the industry average. You want to know why Microsoft's been making all of these cost-cutting measures despite the fact they're more and more successful than ever? These insane people were trying to achieve nearly double the profits of what is considered normal. Really? Really? I just makes you want to like slap yourself in the face a little bit. It's so freaking dumb. Right now, you now have one of the best gaming values for subscription services. Now considered one of the most hated because you increased the price by 50% and definitely caused you a loss in revenue with the sheer number of people who discarded it outweighing the number of people who are willing to pay the extra. You went ahead and killed countless beloved projects, including a reboot of an N64 classic in Perfect Dark. That's dead, never gonna see the light of day again, along with many, many, many other game and studio closures. All for what? A short-term profit margin you never could reach? What's even more wild to me is why chase a percentage? Would it be nice to have a 30% profit margin? Of course it would. Who wouldn't want that? But what would you rather have? 30% of $1,000 or 15% of $10,000? There's no reason to chase the percentage when you could instead let more games launch. And of course, if you see developments if you see the game's not going to do well at all, by all means, cut your losses. But that's not what's been going on. It has been cost cutting and layoffs for the sake of cost cutting and layoffs. That's why we've gotten such completely asinine moves, such as announcing their most profitable quarter ever, followed by layoffs. Who does that help? No one. It helps no one. Well, I guess in the end, Microsoft is just going to keep on Microsofting. Speaking of questionable choices, though, Samsung announces the Galaxy XR, a direct competitor to a product whose competition is the desire to get one. The Galaxy XR is supposed to compete directly with the Apple Vision Pro, and the best part is that no one can tell me what this thing does. No one. My purchase will, however, include Google AI Pro and Project Pulsar from Adobe and YouTube TV and a whole bunch of other like services. But no one can tell me what it does. They can tell me that it weighs 1.2 pounds. They can tell me it has 16 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage, non-upgradable, by the way. Has 60 hertz refresh rate, a 3552 by 3840 OLED screen. I assume that's per eye. A Snapdragon XR2 has two-way speakers with a subwoofer and a tweeter. It has 2 hours of use time. Nailed it. Oh, but the key features will tell me what it does. You can view things. You know what's even better though? It doesn't even mention that this thing is powered by Android XR, an operating system that was launched last year that no one utilized. The price of the device is $1,800, which is about what the Vision Pro is going for on eBay. I don't know who needs this. I don't know who wants this. I don't know who's going to use it. But it exists now. For better or for worse, it exists. And all we can do is shake our heads at the fact that this thing now does officially exist. Meanwhile, though, TSMC has officially produced the first NVIDIA Blackwell GPU within the United States. So now it's official, right? We can get cheaper GPUs. We're making them in the US. They're going to avoid the tariffs that nobody likes. And we're all good, right? Wrong. They're making them here in the US, shipping them to Taiwan for packaging to then return here and get paid tariffs on. I just can't even. I just ship the boxes here, you freaking idiots. And of course, high-end GPUs that use HBM3E memory stacks are still Taiwan only. So I mean, it is progress, but on the other hand, holy smokes, you have just ship the boxes, man. Just ship the boxes. I beg of you, please. Just so close. Now, who am I kidding? This is NVIDIA we're talking about. Even if they didn't have to pay the tariffs, they'd still charge me $8,000 for a 5050. So as much as I like to pretend there's hopes of cheaper GPUs out there, I know that Jensen Huang's leather coat does not come cheap. Tragically, it's true. Someone in chat asks, does the packaging refer to putting the entire CPU together? That actually is a very good question. Are they just building the GPU and then Taiwan is assembling the actual entire GPU or package, as it's often referred to? That'd actually be a very distinct differentiator. Unfortunately, oh yeah, no, Chatter is 100% right. The wafers produced in Phoenix are being shipped back to TSMC's facilities in Taiwan's for the critical step, which is each GPU integrates 8 stacks of HBM3 memory through the COWOS packaging, which connects the memory compute. Okay, yeah. This isn't, no, Chatter, you're not 100% right. That is factually incorrect. You are, in fact, 30% right. 50% of the time. We have your statistics. Anyway, it is, in fact, shipping back to Taiwan for a manufacturing step, not just to be thrown into the box. So that is an important distinction in all this. So good catch. You now only need 387 more good catches to counteract all your bad ones. In fact, with that, why don't we go ahead and take our probably last break here. And when we come back, I want to talk about some Apple things, and then we're going to get to all the weird stories. And let me tell you, I have plenty of weird stories this week. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. All right. Apple is in the middle of enabling a new tool that actually I'm a little surprised. They're working on a new tool called the App Migration Kit. It's supposed to go ahead and allow a one-time transfer of app data between Apple and non-Apple platforms. Here's the thing, though, all right? You're thinking, oh, who cares? Apple went ahead and made a tool to get all the Android users to switch off Android and onto Apple. Typical Apple move. Oh, no. It's bi-directional. In a very un-Apple-like move, this new version of the Apple Migration Kit, or the App Migration Kit, will let you transfer from iPhone to Android if you're sick of not having a home button or a back button or other such relatively important buttons. They will all be there. To which I gotta say, oddly helpful for Apple. Very unusual. What's the catch? As far as we can tell, there isn't one. Is it going to be perfect? No. Someone in chat asked which EU mandate caused this. That might be the correct question. This definitely feels like something that only came because of an EU mandate. And if I had to guess, probably the GDP. Not the GDP. What's the one that, it doesn't matter. The point is that you're probably right. It probably is, in fact, some EU regulation that caused this. Which one? Who's to say, right? But you know what? I'll take it. I'll take what wins I can get out of Apple. However, here's something that is awkward. Here's something that we do know because of a Europe regulation. And this is actually bad. Apple does have a feature within the iPhone called the app tracking transparency, where the iPhone will tell you exactly what each app is tracking and where it's going. However, because of EU regulations, specifically in the DPA, the Data Protection Act, the way this thing works, it could end up being disabled in Europe. Why have you betrayed me? Europe, why have you betrayed me? Why have you, in fact, betrayed us? Well, that just is what it is, I guess. Apple, of course, is trying to fight this because it is a key feature, or it is a very welcome feature for iPhone users. But of course, it does give the iPhone a lot more control and applications a lot less control. And that is the concern that the EU has. The only thing is that control is being used to, let the consumer control what happens on their phone. It's almost the equivalent of saying, oh, no. You can't use the steering wheel in your car. That gives you too much control. That gives the car too much control over what you're doing. Here, we're going to let the GPS drive. No, please no. Not the best analogy I know, but it's the best I got right now given the circumstances. A new study shows exactly what we kind of knew. That Instagram goes ahead and shows more eating disorder adjacent content to vulnerable teens. Teens who Instagram has determined have what's the right phrasing for this? If Instagram detects that you have any sort of vulnerability in appearances, it will go ahead and actively serve content to exploit it. It's not just exploiting you, it's exploiting you intelligently. Now, here's the real survey. Raise your hand if this shocks you. The rest of you point and laugh at everyone who just raised their hands. This should have been obvious from the get-go. Point and laugh at that person. The person in chat that just raised their hand. Point and laugh at them. Point and laugh. Point and laugh at them. Oh, wait, that doesn't work. In any case, yeah, no, this really doesn't surprise anyone at all. It's just more confirmation for things we have already suspected and for things that we pretty much all but completely confirmed. And now we have even more confirmation that, yes, in fact, Facebook will exploit you. They will do it until it's just not profitable to do so. Just get ready to be surprised when all this information leaks out yet again. And if you're going to be surprised that Facebook has a leak that gives up a whole bunch of data, I don't know what to tell you then. Buy some swampland. Now let's get into some of the weirder stories. This is actually kind of fascinating. A new medical procedure can restore sight to the blind by injecting a tiny chip into the eye. In certain kinds of blindness, it can be cured by going ahead and putting in a tiny chip. The small little computer chip that is installed behind the eye is a breakthrough procedure for age-related macular degeneration, also known as AMD. No, not that AMD, although there's a different kind of degeneration happening in that AMD. Now, honestly, this is really interesting. The fact that by basically turning the eye bionic to a very minor extent, sight can just instantly be restored. It's fascinating. But an interesting breakthrough over in the UK in Wiltshire. Hey, I can't be mad at that. I can be questionable about this. Nike saying they have an e-bike for your feet. which is basically an electric motor attached to your wrist, attached to a shoe, that will amplify using a robotic brace to boost your walking speed. It's happening. No longer are the clankers just the AI that fail to give good news out there. Now the clankers are moving into the real world. They are fusing with man. There could be clankers walking among you right now. All right, in all seriousness though, who is this for? How much is this gonna cost? Does this actually work? Like, I have so many questions. What's even weirder to me is that this is apparently aimed at athletes who are running a roughly 10 to 12 minute mile pace. Okay, sure, Nike, whatever you say. Meanwhile, though, there's been a bust as part of an NBA gambling probe where apparently some high-end poker players were using X-ray glasses to be able to see cards. In fact, actually more what it was using mark cards and then using special glasses to go ahead and see the markings that were invisible to the eye, but not invisible to whoever was wearing the glasses, to get an idea of who had what. Which you'd think, oh, whatever, a little bit of friendly poker. I mean, I just recently got together for our group's annual penny ante poker, in which I lost $2 to some BS. But when you're talking high stakes poker, you're talking 6, 7, maybe even 8 digits worth of money on the line. And you're cheating that out? Ooh, that is not good. I don't exactly know how the NBA is involved in this, but I guess it's just because people involved are part of the NBA, or in any case, have fun with that. You can also have fun with this headline. You're not ready for this headline. I'm warning you that right now. You are not ready for this headline. Are you ready? You're not ready. Butt breathing might soon be a real medical treatment. Butt breathing. Butt breathing. I couldn't even when I saw the headline. Now, the thought process here is basically trying to go ahead and get oxygen through the rear in case there is other... I don't fully understand. I'm not going to pretend I understand it. The point is that it was inspired from the humble loach, which can be found in Eurasia and Northern Africa, which uses intestinal breathing through the anus rather than gills survived under hypoxic conditions. You know what? On one hand, if it keeps you alive, I mean, why not? On the other hand, I don't know if I could live with the shame if my peers found out I survived thanks to butt breathing, because I got a feeling I'm never going to hear the end of that. And finally, I bring you the last story of the day, the weirdest story of the week. And the only reason why this is weirder than butt breathing is because butt breathing, well, no one can explain it, but this one I can. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you the most invasive piece of technology known to man, the toilet camera. Kohler has actually unveiled a camera specifically designed for your toilet. This $600 camera can be attached to your toilet specifically to take pictures of your turds. The pictures are taken automatically and then used to give you updates based on for your gut health and hydration, and potentially detect blood to give you insights as to how healthy you are. So, when all is said and done, hey, this sounds like something that's pretty reasonable, right? Now, fortunately, the camera is pointed down, not up, so it's not getting any pictures of your butt star. However, I gotta ask, I don't know if I could take a poop knowing there's a camera inside the toilet. I don't really consider myself a shy pooper, but knowing that there's a camera in the toilet, I got a feeling This thing's just going to cause constipation more than anything else. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode of Eagle Eyes on Tech. Thank you so much for listening. I do encourage you to check my other works, youtube.com/EagleFalcon and twitch.tv/EagleFalcon. Take care. Hope you have a good day. Bye-bye. Someone in chat just jokingly said, just install it into every toilet in the building to monitor your employees' pooping habits. Oh no, I could totally see some deranged employer who is just hyper focused on efficiency to absolutely install these into toilets just to monitor how long of toilet breaks they're taking and then deduct that from the hours at the end of the day. I can totally see that. And honestly, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I hate that that could be a real thing that really exists. Why have you put this thought in my head? Because unfortunately, I believe it.